Welcome to The Next Big Star, hosted by James Kelly and Ninon de Vere de Rosa. Hello and welcome to The Next Big Star. I'm your host, James Kelly, and my co-host is Ninon de Vere Rosa.
De Rosa.
Right.
Ninon de Vere de Rosa.
There we go.
You got it.
I get it right sometimes.
You will. I think it's a challenge, but I think you play games every time so we can
Ninon
talk.
de Vere de Rosa.
You got it.
All right.
By Jove, he's got it.
I just wanted to make sure.
There you
and
go.
so then we have with us Ali Rodriguez.
Yes.
Right, okay. And we have Ali on today because she is an up-and-coming or inspired to become an actress. And
All through you.
Through me.
Yep.
We actually were doing a trailer shoot here in the studio at Quirky Minds Media, and our actress didn't show up one day, and a good friend of hers who works here at the studio said, I have someone who'll be perfect for this. And we go, really? And she said, yes,
Heard that before.
but she's not an actress. And we go, oh, no, but we need someone. So if you can just get the body here to where, we could get her in the shot.
This is the body.
And this is
gorgeous,
the body, Allie.
This gorgeous woman
And
arrives.
we were really shocked because you picked up immediately what we needed you to do. I mean, most time when someone has to learn a line or something, they have to have a couple days. We just gave you a line, you did it, and then you improvised as well. So it was absolutely perfect. And then from there, you want to talk about now what?
And now I just got casted for Jessica Cruz on the Green Lantern series.
All right. So
Isn't that
see,
amazing?
this is great.
But you told me, James, that when she did an ad-lib line, it was better than the actual lines.
Well,
Because you suddenly came out with something.
what she came out with just added so much flavor to what we were trying to
Yeah.
do. So it wasn't in the script. So that was just fantastic. And then it caused the actor who was playing opposite her to react to that as well, which was absolutely hilarious because he got embarrassed. And we kept that because it was just perfect. So
See, the natural is sometimes better
it
than the
is.
written.
Yeah, absolutely.
sometimes.
Yeah. So give us a little bit of your background.
So a little bit about my background is I was born in Mexico. I came here when I was 5, and my background has always been working in the casino industry. I worked at MGM. I cocktailed there, and I modeled as well. I got into real estate. So I've done a lot.
You've done a lot of things.
Yes.
Which one did you like best? None of them.
Oh, that's
Probably the acting.
this one. That's why I'm very excited. I'm
Oh, you
like,
like
oh my
this
goodness. I honestly haven't felt this type of passion or excitement about anything for a while. So I'm definitely going to ride the wave.
You never even set out to do this.
No.
Isn't it great the things that we don't expect in life and how they
Yes.
come along, and it can change your path in an instant?
She also allowed it to happen. It wasn't a no. It was, okay, I'll try it. I'll do it. And the funniest thing is you found this is your passion. This is something, and you have the look. She's tall. She's like this mold that was born. I call her Vivian Lee, she looks like to me. There was this movie, Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
True. The
Yeah.
hair and the look.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about your past. I know you're a dancer. You're a trained dancer, and you've done more than one form of dance. Do you mind talking about that?
Actually, just started to learn burlesque.
Okay.
So
People don't understand what that is. Not really. I
No,
mean,
they don't.
in their mind, they think
It's an
one
olden
thing.
days sort of, I don't want to say striptease or anything like that, but it is. But in those days, they didn't strip.
All the way.
They took some clothes
Right.
off, but not everything. So
I honestly just wanted to get into it because I just feel like it's such a sexy, sensual dance. And I had a traumatic experience happen to me, like a lot of women do, where I lost that part of myself, and I wanted to regain that back.
Yeah, so that gave you the confidence.
Yes.
Yeah. But with burlesque, though, like Ninon was saying, you don't really strip all the way.
No.
No. When you hear the word burlesque, you automatically associate that
And it's
with
not.
being a stripper.
Well, I don't know if it is now, but it wasn't years ago
Yeah.
because it was
Yeah.
illegal to do that. So they didn't do that. But it was and as you said, it was very sexy. So you want to bring your sex appearance as of who you are out again.
Yes.
It's her choice.
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's correct.
But you did
James.
more than just burlesque. Didn't you study some other form of dance?
I have always loved to Latin dance, so I love salsa, merengue, bachata. I love Latin dance. I love dance and I love music.
So you're basically a dancer as well.
Yes, not the best. I'm getting better because I'm practicing more. But
Practice makes perfect. Come
Yeah.
on.
I'm
you
at
know.
a point in my life where I'm just like, are you going to go for the things that you love or are you not? And like really wanting to do everything that the universe presents to me, I feel like.
And I think that's the smartest thing to do is like when an opportunity is presented to you, jump on it. Don't be afraid. I mean, we are afraid. We're always afraid of anything we're going to do.
Well, the first time we're afraid.
Yeah. Now, Ninon, I'm going to go back a couple years for you. When you started out in the business, because you were in L.A. when you started out, were you afraid the first time you went on television? Because you actually created your own show there as well.
I created all my own shows.
Right.
Yes, I was nervous. I can remember doing my very first show. I was doing a show with children. The children were 3 years to 11 or 12. They were very, very young. And I was doing a talk show. And I'm looking at all these kids and thinking, wonder, what am I going to do? But they took over. And so when they started talking, I started talking. But you never pre-interview. The best thing you can ever do is never pre-interview anybody, because then they're waiting for that question, but it never comes out the same. So I was in my element. I hadn't pre-interviewed anybody. But this little girl turned on my very first show. It was children from divorced parents. And we're talking all about their mum and their dad and the divorce and the whole bit, going to be able to say, welcome to Kids Talk. This is Ninon.
So was that the show you created, or did someone else? Oh, no, you did create it. Okay.
I created the whole thing.
So that's a little bit different.
Yeah, well, it is different. But
because with
it's
Allie,
even worse.
well, and with Allie, she was just thrown into this.
That's
we just
right.
needed someone to stand in.
No, I admire
And,
her for
yeah.
that. But everybody has acting in them.
Yeah.
Everybody can act. It's just that we get afraid of it. I mean, were you afraid? It doesn't seem like you get nervous or afraid.
You know, surprisingly, I think Cindy tricked me to come in here, right? Or maybe
Tell
it
us
was
that story, because I don't think I've heard it.
I'll tell the story.
I'll tell the story.
So I am just going to school right now. So I'm like waking up really late, around 11 o'clock, and I had saw the phone and I saw a missed call from Cindy, right? And it was around 10:30, I think, and I called her back around 11 maybe, and I was like, I'm sorry, I was sleeping, I was taking a nap. And then she's like, well, you know, I have this opportunity, and I'm like, well, what do you got to do? And she's like, you just got to be sleeping. I'm like, perfect.
Because she just woke up from a nap.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, I got this. No worries. I'll be right there. Right? I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I just got to lay down and
be
close
sleepy.
my eyes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You
I got
tricked her.
this.
Right, that's an easy roll.
Yes.
But then when you got here and you saw what we were doing.
Yes, I just like wanted to run out the door, really. I'm like, oh my God, I can't talk.
What am I putting myself into?
I gotta talk.
Because we actually had a set up, and then we had to guide you on what you needed to say, and then you got the cameras there, and you got a little bit of a crew, and so it's like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into type thing?
Yes, but it was very comfortable. I think that's why I was able to.
Yeah, we tried to make it comfortable.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was able to like tap into what you were directing me to do, because I didn't feel like anybody was around, and it was nothing but really positive energy.
Yeah, that's good.
So is that how you came up with that one line? It was like you forgot you were on set, you forgot everything, and just threw like this line out.
And the part was just in really me.
I
feel
think it was flirting. That's what I think.
Oh.
Yeah,
But that's your
my personality.
But the funny, because you don't know this, but in acting, I've done acting before, but in acting, you've got to find those things.
Yes.
These are the things you need to throw out. Sometimes with a script, they don't want you to do that. Sometimes they don't mind.
Well, I think the thing is that truly, when we say that this is just a natural thing for you, if you watch back that little bit of that trailer we did, it's only 20 seconds, but you can tell if this is natural for you. This is something you really should be doing. I mean, you have the looks for it, and you obviously improvised very well. Even though it was one simple line, it made that little tiny clip relevant. So I think it is something that you should be doing. The first day I was on the air, I hyperventilated, thinking, well, they're going to not let me do this show anymore. And then he goes, that was such a good show. And I'm going, it was? That was a good show. But we don't sometimes know how we're reacting or how we look. And I know that's the way you felt that day. When you saw the trailer, what did you think? Because you had not seen it until several days later.
It took me a while to even watch it and to think that I was good, because it was my first one. So I'm like, is this good? Did I do okay? I'm like, I hope I did okay.
Yourself.
Like, I was just questioning myself and just hoping that I did good.
So did you think, is that really me?
Yeah, I feel like that. I still look at it. I'm like, wow.
It's funny you were talking about that one line, James, but it's that one line can make you into a star.
Absolutely.
That one line. And you think, well, no one's going to choose me because of that. But they hear the tone of your voice. They watch how you move. They watch everything about you, because that's what they do. And that one line can put you right on the top.
Yeah.
That's
that's
got
right.
this other job. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's not
Yes, it
amazing
is.
because she's beautiful.
Right.
But you know what? The funny part is, like, I've never thought of that about myself, crazily. But
Right.
Well, we better
I
start
never-
thinking.
So you never dreamed of ever being
Yeah,
as
no.
an actress or an actor of
Well,
any
you
kind.
start
So-
thinking now.
So, yeah.
So now I'm just like, okay,
Well, we'll
maybe
see.
that's too exciting.
You're going to
Just
be an actress. What
stay
name will you
humble
go
and
under?
you'll be fine.
What name would you like to go under?
Athena Rose.
Athena Rose? Okay,
Athena
that's interesting.
Rose.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Not Ali.
No.
So where did you
I
come up with that
love
name?
that.
Athena, I got surprisingly when I had, this is like multiple stories, but when I grew up in Mexico, and from a very young age, I had this incline towards that name. Even when we were growing up, I would tell my cousins that that was my name.
That your name was Athena?
That my name was Athena. And my first manic episode that I had, that's what was playing in my mind, that was me.
We're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute,
Yes,
too.
what
So
is- what
where
is
did...
that? Getting something else in here.
Why Athena Rose, though? Why Rose?
Why Rose?
Rose is my sister-in-law's name that passed away. So I just
Oh.
want to honor her memory.
Okay. Well,
And
that's
she loved
Athena
dance.
Rose.
And
I
that's
think it's
like
a
my
beautiful
dance
name. It's a
Athena
beautiful
Rose,
name.
too.
So let's talk about what you just mentioned with manic, because we talked about this before going on the air, and I don't know that much about it, and I never had a discussion with anyone about it. So tell us what that is, and I know you both know.
A
So
little bit.
Yes. So having a manic episode, I was diagnosed with schizophrenia when I was 29.
okay,
So you just have this disconnection with reality. You're not here anymore. All the common sense that you think that you have is gone. Like your mindset is set back to that maybe like a 15-year-old.
really?
Yes, you're just
Yeah,
innocent and
This didn't
know.
happen to you till you were 29.
29.
So did you know you had this, or you're growing up, did you ever feel that you had maybe a little bit of it coming out, or anything to put you in another place? Because it's really putting you into another place to where you are.
Yes,
And you start getting nervous and worried about it, and you know what's going on and what's happening. Okay, so you get into it. How do you get out of it?
self-love.
But when you were diagnosed, did they give you medication, or did they
Yes.
just say do this or do that?
I did take medication for a couple of months. I don't recommend this because I know this is a personal thing, but I weaned myself off of the medication.
Good for you.
And I just do a lot of self-work.
Well, I know you do Pilates. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay, so you do a lot of things that sounds like, even with the dancing, that is kind of a therapy for that
Yes.
keeps you in focus. It's like a meditation type
It
thing.
seems like it's taking your mind off your body and your soul and your place and putting it in somewhere where it's very comfortable and it's a pleasure and it makes you feel good.
Yes.
Is that sort of, so that would be the remedy to anybody out there if they're having this particular thing going on. My thing has always been, if you feel anything, go out and walk, get up and do something, change the atmosphere, change the way you're thinking, or do something.
Well, I hear all the time, too, how there's a lot of actors out there that have a problem. You hear them all the time saying, I go to therapy, I do whatever.
Oh.
And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. We should all be looking at,
Some people
if
need
you
it,
need
some
to
people
talk to
don't.
someone. I've had to go and talk to people from work when I used to work at one of the major hotels as well. And the stress level would be so great, you just have to go discuss this, talk it out with someone. So I think that's great. And I don't know why it took until 29. Now, did
Yeah,
you
neither
know,
do I.
did you have any inclination before you were diagnosed?
No.
No? So it was just that
Wow.
episode and then
Yes.
you...
I
Interesting.
honestly, this is a funny thing. I remember it happened around my 29th birthday, and I thought I was getting a superpower. Like, that's because
You're gonna be
I had
now she's
already-
going to be a superhero in a movie
No,
someday.
she's going to be a superstar.
Right?
She's in the
Because-
Green
She's a
Lantern.
superstar already.
Yes, right? Because
I
I'm
love
hearing
it.
voices in my head. Like if you've ever heard voices in your head for the first time, you automatically think it's God. I'm like, is God talking to me? Because the
Well, maybe
voices
he
are
was.
so real.
Uh-huh.
Like you're hearing like an audiobook.
Okay.
Wow.
You know it's not your voice. You know it's not you.
And do you wonder who it is?
Yes, like I said, I thought I was talking to God.
That's interesting because there are people out there who actually think they can talk to God or
They do.
that they hear voices from someone else. They don't call it manic depressive though.
No.
But I wonder if it is a form of being
But, is
manic.
this the only one time you've had it?
No, I've had about four or five manic episodes.
Okay, so it's not.
Which one was? Are they all about the same? Do they all take you back to a certain place?
The funny part is that every manic episode that I've had is like, even like to say this right now, when that part that the movie was for the painter,
Yes.
because you get so much past life energy when that's where your mind
I
goes.
like what you just said. I like
I
that
love
because I
that.
believe in past life. And
Oh,
I
yes.
often wonder if maybe what you're experiencing isn't something from a past life. I wrote a book called The Alien Transcripts. And in there, the theory behind that is that it's a fictional story, but in there, in my character, we are a crossbreed of an alien civilization. Their civilization was able to recall who they were when a child is born as they grew up from their past lives. But when they did an artificial insemination with the primates of Earth, that brain isn't able to decipher who we were in our past lives. So we always have that in our subconscious about who we were in the past life, but we can't bring it forward because of the brain from the primates. And we're just reaching a time in our civilization and evolution that we're able to do that.
But don't you find sometimes you're doing something, and I find this quite a lot, when you're doing something, you know you've done it before, and it's not of this day and age.
Right.
I feel like that about the acting.
See, that's cool because that could be true. That could be true.
So maybe I'm schizo.
Listen, Ninon, I can attest you probably.
And I don't mind it because if it's going to take me back to things some great things I've done, I would love it. No, you're living a double life. It's cool.
It is.
Wasn't it cool for you? I mean,
after you get through it, after you get through that,
you look back on
the trauma. I think it could be really.
Well,
beautiful.
you know what's interesting? We all do that though because it's almost surreal. You're almost out when you're doing something like that. Because even on radio, sometimes in the beginning, it was like that for me. It's like, what was I doing? Was that me there? And it is almost like it's a surreal feeling. Like that's not me. Even when we write books, I'm a novelist. Cynthia's a novelist. I think you.
I write.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when I go back and read a book I've written, I'm thinking, did I write that?
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So
I agree with that.
It is almost like surreal. Like I can't believe I did that. Whether it's good or not.
I was looking at some emails the other day, and I was reading something. Somebody wrote back to me. Then I thought, well, what did I write? And I'm looking. I thought, did I really write that?
Yeah.
And I really was questioning myself. I thought, I don't think I wrote that, but of course I did. It came from me. I signed it.
So I think her experience then is
I
normal.
love the experience. I think it can take a double place. You can get probably depressed on it, or you can kind of, I don't want to say laugh it off because you can't really laugh something like that off, but you took medication. I personally think medication is worse than
Well, that's why she weaned herself off of it.
And I think that's the great. You've never taken, do you take any medication now or anything?
Yes, I medicate herbally and naturally.
Oh, well, that's different.
That works for me.
There's so many people who do that now. That's normal. But the thing is that with you kind of have shifted the way you live your life, it sounds like.
Oh, yes.
And I think that's important too, because I know a little bit about your past life. So I know that you've had to change the way you see things, do things, to forget about things from the past. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes what you did with that experience with the acting that night showed you that this is one way you can do this. This is your calling. This is a way of escaping the past and creating a new future. I often tell people, I had a relative of mine who used to dwell on the past and the way she was raised and what happened. And it was tragic as well. But this person's very successful. And I often say, why don't dwell on that? Dwell on the fact that you're happy, you have wonderful children, great husband,
what you have
great
now.
businesses. Focus on that. Don't dwell on what happened in the past. If you do that, it's almost like that was another person. That was another lifetime, another way you're not even familiar with anymore. And I think that's the way you can get past that. I always encourage people, forget about the past, move on to the future.
So I think sort of every 5 years you change. It's like when you're born and you're 5. Okay, those are then you go from 5, 10, and then 10 to 15. They're all so different. They're all sort of, you can't really go back on them because even when you get older, they're still the same thing. They still change. In a marriage, your marriage isn't the same hair as it is hair or hair. Each thing has a different way of going along. And to me, it's beautiful, but I agree with you. Don't go back on the bad things. Go back on the good things.
When I do look back on the past, if there's something that was traumatic in the past or negative, I don't hold on to that either. I just look at it as an experience, and I say, well, that was the lesson I learned there, and I take that with me going forward. I don't ever regret my past life. You cannot live on regrets. So you're doing the right thing, and I love that you're taking an interest in this, because I know Cynthia was totally surprised herself that you did that, because we just wanted you to just come there and just lay in the bed, and that was it. So
but you did,
yeah.
You used your imagination. You used you.
Yeah.
You used you, and that's what you need.
Yes, and I feel like because I was telling even Cindy on a phone call I think that even having schizophrenia helped me tap into that role, because I'm so used to being in my head in my own little past life stories playing out on their own, that I was really...
So that character came out.
Yeah, it was easy to...
And interestingly enough that you said that, because that character literally in the movie that we're getting ready to produce, that this trailer is for, is a story about someone who was reincarnated in the present and discovers their past life, and that's the character you were playing, was someone from a past life.
And you didn't even know it.
Yeah, which is so cool.
Well, she didn't know until she showed up, for sure.
Didn't know it.
So that's really interesting that you even said that.
So what are you sort of going into now? You've got about this new part you're playing?
Yes, and I just feel like even more like it's meant to be, because the part that I just got is for Jessica Cruz, which is a DC superhero, and she suffers from anxiety, which is I suffer from anxiety.
Wait,
so
you were born for that part,
like,
huh?
oh yeah, I'm going to play this perfectly.
I got this down.
Yeah.
This is cool. I don't have to act. I just scream me.
Basically what this is called, they're called fan films.
Yes.
And so this is a fan film based on the Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you're going to be playing in. Yeah. So
Which
that's cool.
Yeah.
So are you going to go to acting school, or are you going to go and, if people have auditions, are you going to sort of just turn up? Because you don't really have to tell anybody that you've been to school or you've learned. You don't have to tell anybody anything. You just go in and read the part. You're going to try that because you've got guts enough to do that.
I have the guts. I feel like I'm going to take it. I'm going to ride the wave. I'm going to take every opportunity that comes my way. And
it might be a good idea to take acting classes, but one of the things I've learned, we've had an acting class here at the studio, and then I have someone else who's getting ready to do another acting class here. And what I've discovered is each person's method is completely different.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the only thing I'm going to advise you on.
Be careful.
You want to learn as much as you possibly can, mainly about, memorizing structure or performing a certain way, but don't get too caught up in the sense that this is what this director wants, because everyone's different. And when you go out there in the field, when it comes to acting, you're going to have those who are saying, this is what I want you to do it this way, blah, blah. And then you're going to have others like I did the other night, where this is what I have for you, let me see what you can do.
Yeah.
So take what you have, learn from it, and just note how to adjust, because you will have to adjust, depends on who's doing what. But always be you.
Yeah, because that's what made Brad Pitt.
Being him.
Brad Pitt is him.
Yeah. But a lot of actors did not study acting when they got into it.
No, they did not.
So now they may
Years
have
ago,
honed
they
the
didn't.
craft. Right. They may have honed the craft a little bit as they went along. So it's not unusual that you just happen to pop up on the scene and here you are. So that's great.
I think John Wayne was one of those people that just
Yeah.
a lot of those actors.
He
in
was
the
a football
old days,
player.
which were really great actors. They didn't learn, I got to learn this method, I got to learn that method, because you've got to keep that. That's the only thing you have is you. In the entire world, for your whole life, the only thing you have to deal with is you. Nothing else.
Right.
Once you deal with yourself and you've got yourself in order, I still haven't got myself in order. I don't plan on getting myself in order. I'm just me. They like it.
We have another lady who came into the studio for the movie The Factory, which we're working on. And she, like you, had never acted before. She's always wanted to. Now, she's in her 70s, and she's thought, I'm going to start my career. Now, I better not say 70s. She's in her late 50s.
She's up there somewhere.
Yeah. And she came in, she retired school teacher, and she said, this is what I want to do. And I think she did start coming into the acting class we had here, but she had really never done that before. But now that she's retired, she has more time to spend to do it. And just like with you, she was kind of a natural. She played that part fantastic, and she had to play a crazy person. Now, for some people, that may be fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, she did great. We had fun. I got to do her makeup the first time, and we made her look almost like a clown. Like that lady from Drew Carey's show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We made her look like that. So I think it is a passion. It's more passion than anything. If you've got the passion, you can do it.
yes.
Don't worry too much about it. It all comes together, and the producers, directors, they will recognize you.
Yeah.
They will recognize whether you can or can't act. I mean, I'm not maybe I am a producer. I guess I am. I recognize exactly who you are and what you are. You're just a born actress. That's,
Thank you. You guys give me some confidence. I'm like, I can
But
do
it's
this.
true.
I can do this.
You can. You've got the smile. She's got everything. Got the teeth. You've got everything.
Yeah.
You've got the package,
She
and
does.
you're tall.
Yeah.
5'7".
Wow.
Well, we're running out of time, so I want to thank you, Allie, for being on the show with us today. And I know we're going to have you back on once you finish this little film you're doing next. And then when you get to the next project, we'll have you back on. We're going to follow your career.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. I love that idea. Of
I love
following
that
their
idea
careers.
too.
Yeah.
So
Because they are
Can't
the
quit
rising
now.
stars, aren't they?
Yes, and then when you're in the big budget films, you've got to come back no matter what and do in our little studio and do an interview with
Well, we
us.
might not
Of
have a
course.
little studio. Then. We
Oh,
might have a
yes.
big studio.
If we have a little one, you still got to come
Yeah,
back.
you still gotta come back.
Yes.
So, all right.
Don't
All right.
forget
Thank
where
you
it
so much.
started.
All right. Thank you, Allie.
exactly. I'm like,
Thank
I'm never
you.
going to forget where it started. So
All
I'll be back for sure.
Thank you for being on the show, Allie. Thank you, Ninon.
Thank you, James.
You're
Thank
welcome.
You,
Thank
Ali.
you. It was
All right.
nice.
It was amazing.
All right.
It's very
Join
nice.
us again
Thank you.
next
Take
week.
care, everyone.
Thanks.